Welcome to No Nonsense Guy SA.
Welcome. You tuned into Shafted, the podcast that digs deep, sometimes too deep, and it's proudly presented by your very own No Nonsense Guy SA, which of course is me, Warren Herald. So today we want to discuss, it's your Monday story, by the way. So on a Monday, what I try and do is I try and bring something that's not currently in the news, but it kind of is, so that you kind of know what's going on. So today we're going to discuss the rise and the fall of South Africa's mighty, and I mean mighty, mining industry, and how political bungling, gold-faced policies, and corruption buried it, literally. See what I did there? Anyway, let's start with the mining industry. Now, at its peak in the 1980s, okay, the Witwatersrand Basin had thousands upon thousands of vertical mine shafts. Okay, those are the ones that go down. Today, the Department of Mineral Resources, although they close an average of 40 illegal shafts per year, they say, and that's out of roughly 6,100, okay, 6,100 ownerless, abandoned shafts that are exploited by our zamazamas. How many shafts we had, have, that was producing commodities, now exploited by zamazamas? People risking their lives to pull gold from the walls. The industry, long time ago, abandoned. Anyway, industrial mining remains, okay? There are about 561 registered mines. That's as it's January now, 2025, of which 146, only 146, okay, are underground. And only a fraction of those 146, remember, we had in the thousands, over 6,000s. Did you know that I think it was in the 70s that the rand was stronger than the dollar because we were still on the gold standard? Anyway, I digress, okay? 146 of these only are underground, okay? And then of those, only a fraction still produce gold or platinum. So you would have heard names like Sibanye Stillwater's Kloof mine. You would have heard of Driefontein, Marikana, EGM, okay? These are the mines that still support, okay? But the golden glow, hey, fading very, very fast, maybe quicker than a light bulb when Eskom cuts the power, okay? So let's turn our attention to ANC policies. We've got to mention the C word, corruption, okay? Not see you next Tuesday. Once again, South Africa produced in those good 80s, okay, nearly 20% of our gross domestic production, okay, was from mining. Do you know how much that is? 21% of, let's say, Company SA Inc. 21% is what we got from mining alone, okay? That's what it is now, okay? So I don't have the stats for 2025, but by 2023, okay, that dropped to just around 6%, people, from 21 to 6%. A decline of like literally biblical proportions over that period of time. Why? We always ask the why. The ANC government's policies, of course, like mandated equity transfers to historically disadvantaged groups, okay? Mandated equity transfers, okay? This is not bringing people in to work for the BEE equity. It's just handing it over. That's what BEE is about. Just handing it over. Shifting regulations changed, okay? And there were lots of bureaucratic delays, okay, which scared off foreign investors. Investors kind of now rank South Africa in the bottom 10 out of 62 mining jurisdictions, okay? This is what has happened. Infrastructure has collapsed. Electricity shortages have crippled operations and delayed project approvals. Okay, who approves the projects? Okay, have turned shaft planning. Okay, so our government have to approve it. Then we've got to do all sorts of environmental impact studies and all of that. Okay, so shaft planning and approval is it's literally it's turned into a comic saga of red tape tragedies. Let's talk about the C word again. Let's not forget the corruption. Okay. Too many officials have been drinking from the golden chalice. While closure funds, when a mine closes, it has to put money into a fund for rehabilitation and or whatever, okay? There is a 50 billion. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this. Maybe the ANC haven't realized it yet. There's a 50 billion mine closure fund, okay, gathering dust while people slip underground in unstable shafts and die. What is the human toll? Well, in late 2024, at Stilfontein's Buffelsfontein mine, authorities cut off food and water. Do you remember? It wasn't a long time ago. It was on the news. We cut off food and water to force the illegal miners out. This led to a siege. When the dust settled in January 2025, okay, at least 78 were confirmed dead. One shot. Okay. There were hundreds of survivors, many rescued after months underground. These people lived there, okay? Estimates range, okay, from between 350 to 400, maybe even 1,000 miners trapped, okay? Mostly undocumented migrants controlled by syndicates. How about that? These are the unintended casualties of policy failure. The zamazamas. We hate them, but they've been exploited. The human cracks behind the cracks in the mine shafts. So, what's left today? Fast forward mid-2025. Industrially, very little remains. Only a handful of gold shafts still producing, like Kloof's number 1, 7, and 8 shaft, Driefontein's number 8 shaft. Number 10, by the way, is just pumping water. That's all it's pumping. In platinum, we've got Marikana and Nashwaneng. They still operate, but the margins are very thin. Remember, platinum, we've got the biggest sort of, I don't know what they call it, but like stock of platinum. Elsewhere, this is the knock-on effect. We've got about 30,000 artisanal miners, okay, that scrape gold illegally from those 6,000 odd abandoned shafts. Producing, by the way, about between 5 and 30%, because there's no way for us to actually research that. But we estimate that they're producing about 5 and 30% of the national gold output of this country, okay? This is most often, okay, laundered into legal supply chains, thanks to our opaque system still stuck in apartheid-era reporting, okay? Basically, the official sector is on life support. The illegal sector runs on duct tape, and the wealth has never trickled down. It's mostly vanished into, guess where? Political pockets. That's right, peeps. So, there you have it. Once a global mining superpower, okay, was SA Inc., now left with rusting shafts, hollowed out communities, and ghostly fungi sprouting in abandoned tunnels. The ANC and its policies didn't just slow progress, they've literally shut the shafts. Corruption poured golden promises down bureaucratic drains and has left South Africa shafted. Thanks for tuning in to Shafted. Next time we discuss maybe something like zebra crossings, which are outshined by rail infrastructure, or maybe not. Who knows? But we will post another video. In the meantime, peeps, remember, stay blessed. And also remember, yeah, I already lost it, the thought of track, but remember what I was trying to say was use some beautiful brain, which I just didn't, okay, that the good Lord gave you. Until next time, God bless. Cheers.